Welcome to this episode of the Fish Files. We're going to discuss 10 very easy to keep fish for the beginner aquarium. Number 10, GloFish. This is this little purple guy right in the center. They kind of steal the show, so I only put one in here. They come in 6 basic colors. They're actually a species created by man through genetic science. And when they breed, they actually breed purple fish. They're not dyed. They're not used, no chemical stimulus. They use sometimes hormones to color fish. These are not hormoned. They are bred this way through genetic science. White skirt tetra was genetically spliced with a jellyfish to come up with this color, but it's a fish. It's very popular in the trade here. In Europe, it's illegal. The reason GloFish are not allowed in Europe is because they're genetically modified fish. They don't exist in nature. The European countries have, as a group, decided that they are an invasive species. The reason they're not considered an invasive species in the United States is because our Fish and Wildlife and FDA departments determine they really can't thrive in the wilderness. They're so bright and obvious that the predators will just pick them right off. So a little difference in psychology between the two. But in the United States, it's our number one fish. Well, I don't know, take that for what you want. The only thing that I didn't rank them higher is because they're prone to ick. They don't like sudden temperature changes. So you got to keep an eye on it. Ick is like colds. Every fish, that freaking thing is everywhere in the air. So you're going to come across it from time to time if you stay in the hobby. Very easy to get rid of. A couple of drops of ick medicine based on malachite green, couple weeks, couple doses, and it's gone. That is the only problem with GloFish. Number 9 on the list, guppies. Guppies are terrific beginner fish. They're live bears. They'll have babies right in your tank. You don't even have to try and do any special breeding stuff. They do it all on their own. That's why they're called live bears. Sometimes if they have very, very hard water or very high pH, say 8, if you don't know what's coming out of your sink, it's good to test it through a little testing kit you can get at any aquarium store. Just make sure that pH is around 7.5 if you're going to keep guppies. They don't handle high pH well and they can struggle. One way to counter that, if they look like they're struggling, is add just a teaspoon of salt to the aquarium for every 5 gallons of water, tablespoon for every 20. And it won't do any harm to the other fish, and it helps the live bears handle the water a little better. Now, number 8 on the list are the electric blue balloon rams. Rams are dwarf cichlids, and they're fine in any community tank that doesn't have baby shrimp. If you're going to have expensive, fancy shrimp, rams will eat it. Other than that, they'll get along with everybody. The reason the electric blue balloon rams are called rams is because all rams have a tendency between the males to butt each other's heads. That's how they compete against the female or try to butt other males away. So they're a bit pugnacious to each other, but not to other fish, and they don't harm each other. It's very natural for them to just butt heads. Oh, they might be lining up. No, they were looking at each other. I thought we might see it. That would have been great timing. I chose the electric blue balloon rams as opposed to German blue rams, which are probably the most common in the trade. I've found they just hold themselves up a little better. German blue rams tend to be grown by breeders in salted ponds. And so you need that, again, a little bit of salt in your aquarium, or at least make sure that the pH is 7.5-ish or below, or they don't do well. Electric blue balloon rams, bred for that very bright blue color, are very pretty. And I think they have a better range of water temperature and water chemistry. Number 7 on the list is white clouds. White clouds are interesting because white clouds, for one, are extinct in the wild. They're prolific in the aquarium trade, and our trade keeps this species alive. Without us, there would be no white clouds. They were discovered by a Boy Scout in China, by a Chinese Boy Scout on the White Cloud Mountains, and so they're called white clouds. They are also one of the most affordable fish in the aquarium trade, and they're a minnow. All minnows handle temperatures from the 60s to almost 80 degrees. They won't handle temperatures in the 80s, so that's the only thing you got to watch out with minnows. Number 6, the Dwarf Precox rainbow. Easier to say neon dwarf rainbow, same fish. In the trade, we usually say Precox, but who wants to say that every day? Beautiful little schoolers. They only get about this big. They have, as their name implies, a beautiful rainbow sheen. You really see it, not so much with this little studio lighting, but when you see aquarium lighting on it, it really reflects several different colors well. And for that reason, I think it's a great, very hardy fish. Other rainbows are a little more temperamental. This one can tolerate a wide range of water conditions. Number 5, Dwarf Gouramis. Okay, Dwarf Gouramis, very hardy because they're part of what's called a labyrinth fish. It's a family of fish, betas are also part of them, that actually have a lung as well as gills. If, for instance, the water becomes stagnant, let's try to stop this guy. There we go. So you lose your power. These guys can start breathing in the air. Pretty interesting fish. And what I have here is powdered blue dwarf gouramis. They're all Calisa lalia. They're all the same species. This one has a female dwarf gourami. They're bronze color. They don't have any coloring other than that, but they bring out the color in the males because they like to compete for the female by displaying their colors. So I like to put one female with males when I create a community tank. Now, number 4, Cory Julii. I actually grabbed Cory Julii from the place. Same exact family. Julii's has a polka dot pattern or a leopard pattern that goes in basically 3 bands on the fish. The Sturbai have a more spread out, smaller leopard pattern, which I think is a little prettier, and also they are a little more expensive fish. And they grow to about 2 inches. They're wonderful scavengers. They'll eat almost anything that falls on the bottom of the aquarium. They're not algae eaters, very hardy, and they'll play around with each other, and they're kind of cute the way they do that. Now, one of the playful ones, number 3, is the YoYo Loach. The YoYo Loach is named Yo-Yo because he actually has Y's. So YoYo Loach. You really are wasting a great experience if you don't get 2 or more of these guys. If you do, they chase around each other, and it looks like they're otters in the aquarium. Again, they're affordable and very, very hardy, handle a lot of different water conditions. They don't need any special food. They're scavengers. And now number 2. Number 2 would be the Siamensis. Siamensis, I'm sure everyone has heard of Chinese algae eaters if they've looked into the trade because they want someone to eat all the algae in the aquarium. Siamensis are probably the finest algae eaters for the kind of algae that can grow on the side of the tanks. They do grow to about 4 inches over time, but they're slow growers and they're always peaceful. Chinese algae eaters, beginners, I know they're cheap, avoid them. They grow to 8 inches. They only eat algae until they're about 3 inches, and then they fight the other fish for food. And if they don't get the food from them, they'll eat the fish. So I stick with Siamensis. Now, number 2. Oh, shoot. Okay. So I'm going to have a bonus one. So this is really number 1, because number 1 is really super number 1. So this is number 1, Tiger Barbs. Tiger Barbs, pretty schooling fish. Only knock on Tiger Barbs why it's not even the best of all the hardiest. The reason they're number 1 for beginners is because it's really hard to kill these guys. The problem with them is they'll grow to 2 inches, and they might get meat enough to go after things like the white clouds, and then they might kill the white clouds. They're usually not known for killing fish, but they're known for chasing smaller fish. They're bullies, not killers, but they are bullies. But they are hardy, they're affordable, they're schooling fish. So if you get them, I get 3 or more, 5 or more if you have a large enough tank. Great colors, bright orange fins, and neat tiger stripes, hence their name, Tiger Barbs. And then super number 1, beginner fish that you throw in your aquarium when you're just trying to get the water stable and you know it's not gonna die, are the Danios. Leopard Danios, zebra Danios, turquoise, pearl Danios. That species or family of species is so hardy. Even the pet stores, if they're gonna start a bunch of new aquarium tanks, throw those guys in there to make sure the filters, everything gets settled in before they start introducing new fish to the tanks. They're also a great fish in the community tank because they'll chase each other, school each other. Kids can watch them chase and think they're playing tag. They're actually trying to breed, but that they look like they're playing tag. Just a wonderful fish that handles all levels of the aquarium. So it'll take up all the space, and they max out at 1 inch. Super, super hardy fish. All these are great beginner fish. Now we have a 3-gallon fish tank. I just want to explain how easy this hobby is. If I filled the bottom with gravel and threw in a couple easy plants, you got a fish tank. I'd say it's a little overpacked. I like to use for beginner fish with a 1 inch per 1 gallon rule, and we probably have twice that in this tank. But if you remove half the fish, you've got an aquarium. If you don't do anything but feed these guys and take out, it's that easy. That much water once a week and replace it with that much fresh water. These fish will thrive for years. So that's how easy the aquarium hobby is. So hurry up, get an aquarium, start the hobby.